Once upon a time, in the peaceful village of Nyambura, there lived a man named Kweku. Kweku wasn't famous for his bravery or wisdom, but for his cunning and arrogant behavior. He prided himself on his ability to deceive anyone and steal anything that didn't belong to him. The villagers tolerated his actions, attributing it to a capricious spirit. However, Kweku's audacity knew no bounds. As the only son of the village's spiritual leader, he believed that his father's position would protect him from the consequences of his actions, and this had often been the case. On the outskirts of Nyambura lived a widow called Amma. Known for her grace and resilience, Amma had lost her husband, a virtuous and respected man. She lived modestly, protected by the spirits of the ancestors for her late husband's good deeds. Every day, villagers came to visit her, bringing offerings and gifts in tribute to her husband. Amma, with her gentle smile and calming gaze, always greeted them with warmth and gratitude. One night, driven by greed, Kweku broke into Amma's home. He had heard about the ivory bracelet, a precious heirloom from her husband. The bracelet was his last link with his past life, filled with memories and love. Kweku, silent as a shadow, entered Amma's house. The moon lit the room dimly, and Kweku quickly spotted the bracelet on a small table near the bed. He seized it with perverse satisfaction, totally unaware of the sentimental value of this object to Amma. The next morning, Amma discovered the theft. Her cry of distress echoed throughout the village. The villagers came running, finding Amma in tears, clutching the empty table to her chest. The villagers' faces reflected indignation and helplessness. They all knew that Kweku was the culprit, but the protection afforded him by his father rendered them powerless. The pain in Amma's eyes rekindled a flame of anger among them, but what could they do against Kweku? The ancestors could not remain indifferent. From the spirit realm, they watched Amma's suffering with indignation. Who would dare trouble their beloved in this way? They decided to punish Kweku in an exemplary fashion. One night, they appeared in a dream to the village's spiritual leader, Kweku's father. They warned him that his son would be cursed for his actions. The spiritual leader, though terrified, begged the ancestors to forgive his son. But their decision was irrevocable. Days passed and Kweku, confined to his home, began to feel the pressure mounting. He thought he was invincible, protected by his father. But the villagers' gazes, previously fearful, were now accusatory. The tension in the air was palpable. The villagers were waiting to see if Kweku would change his ways. However, the ancestors decided to test Kweku's resolve. One night, they sent a beautiful woman to his door. She knocked softly, and Kweku, curious, opened the door. The woman, with a bewitching smile, invited him out. "Come join me," she said in a gentle voice. "I promise you love and affection, but only if you cross this threshold." Kweku, drawn by the woman's promises, hesitated. His heart was racing. The desire to possess this beauty was too strong. Finally, driven by his own arrogance, Kweku gave in. As soon as he set foot outside, the sky was covered in dark clouds, thunder rumbled, and a violent wind picked up. The spirits appeared, their anger palpable. Kweku froze in panic. His buttocks began to swell, becoming huge and heavy, a symbol of his greed and arrogance. He tried to return home, but his new proportions made him clumsy. He stumbled and fell to his knees, crying out for help. His father, awakened by the noise, rushed out. Seeing his son, he broke down in tears. "What have you done, Kweku? What have you done?" he whispered in despair. But it was too late. The transformation was irreversible. Kweku's first reaction was to deny his fault. He blamed the ancestors, the village, and his father. But the reality of his curse soon became clear. His enormous buttocks prevented him from flying or hiding. The villagers looked at him with a mixture of fear and satisfaction. As time went by, Kweku realized the extent of his actions. Shame gnawed at him. he began a long journey of redemption. Every day, he presented himself to the villagers, asking forgiveness for his misdeeds. He went to Alma's house, falling to his knees before her. "I'm sorry, Alma. I stole more than a bracelet. I stole your peace and your memories." Alma, touched by his repentance, forgave him. Kweku used his curse to protect the village. His enormous buttocks, once a source of mockery, became a symbol of vigilance. Children gathered around him, listening to his stories about honesty and respect. He taught with passion, hoping that the younger generations would not follow his bad example. As the years passed, Kweku became a pillar of the community. His curse, though visible, was no longer a burden. The children, who had never known him as the thief he once was, saw him as a wise and caring teacher. The story of Kweku and his curse became a valuable lesson for the village of Nyambura, a reminder of the power of the spirits and the importance of humility. Kweku, once a source of trouble, was now a guardian of peace and wisdom. Tell us in comments from which country you are watching the video. It makes us happy to know that.